Okay, and in the protocols, in the Unix protocols that are the network protocols that are in the router, there is a special instruction which is called traceroute that will send you back the route that followed your packet. Okay, the thing you sent. Okay, and basically what they do is that they use a fairly small number of probes, okay, about 40, all around the world, and they send packets to everywhere, randomly, okay, and they get back the route, okay, and then they deduce that there exist some connections. So they clearly miss some connections. Okay, they could clearly miss some connection. Okay, well, there is no reason to doubt about the fact that it could work. Okay, but there are some. There might be some issue here. Is that clearly we do not measure the graph. Okay, and clearly we do not measure all the wire, because some wire might not be used, for instance. Okay, so but this is not too much of an issue. Okay, more problematic is that more or less the protocols are optimized in order that you follow the shortest path to the target. This is not the case. Okay, this is not the case, but this is the goal. You know, they want that your packet follow the shortest path. But when they design the router protocol, they try to make sure that you follow the shortest path. And the surprising fact is that if you take a uniform random graph, okay, something which has a priori nothing, which has nothing to do with power laws, okay, so you have a degree distribution in a uniform random graph, you have a distribution that looks like that, okay. That's a Poisson distribution, which is very picked here. It has nothing to do with the power law, which would look like that. Okay? Well, but when you do so, if you do the same thing in this random graph here, so if you pick a small number of prods, okay, and you compute shortest path to everybody, and you look at you do the union of these shortest paths, what you get is a power law. You would conclude that the graph is a power law. And this was done by physicists, by the way. So it's really unclear whether even power law exists over the internet. It's probably clear for other reasons, because there are other models that tells you that power law might exist because when you do trade-off between cost and efficiency, you get power laws. Okay, but I mean that's unclear. Okay.
All the allometric laws and the gravitational models with preferential attachment and these kind of things.
Yeah,
so,
I do. It's just
so
key. It's just
the idea is that maybe the power law is the representation of some phenomena.
Yeah.
When there is dynamic and change.
Or maybe everything is power laws and it doesn't matter. I mean, there are power laws everywhere and it has nothing to do with anything. I'm just kidding, of course. But what I mean is here, you have a strong evidence that you don't need power laws to do that. And it doesn't help. I mean, the problem is really something else. You really have a problem of local view. That's what I meant. Of course, power laws exist, probably. And it might have some sense, okay? It might tell you something, but I think it's somehow very suspicious that they are everywhere. You know, does it? When you look at very things that have really nothing to do, and you have this, you find power laws in both cases. Does it really mean that it means something? I mean, it could just exist everywhere and would have nothing to do with what you're looking at. So it's just to say that you might have to be careful with power laws. Okay, I won't say that it's not useful. I won't say that it's not interesting, but be careful. It's everywhere. So that's anyway. Here it's fairly clear that it has nothing to do with it, or very little. So as we've said. So we can extend to other graphs, okay, more realistic graphs, this model. So it could make sense. I'm also very careful with this model. I'm not claiming that it is telling anything about the small world phenomenon, but at least it's a model that is interesting to look at. So the question is, okay, so we have this greedy routing scheme. So we know that when alpha is different from 2, there is no chance that we can do anything better than nothing. I mean, there is nothing we can do when alpha is different of 2, because we know that any decentralized algorithm will not do anything efficient. Okay? And especially will always be very far away from the diameter. So, but we can still ask the question whether, you know, in this model, the greedy algorithm, when you give someone a letter and you ask him to send it to a physician in Boston, he will not decide in 1 second that he will forward it to the closest contact around him. Probably what he will do is discuss with his friend about this experiment and how fun it is and who he should broadcast it for and everything. So he will probably explore his neighborhood before sending it. Okay. So the question is whether we can try to. There is a gap here, okay, between the diameter of a graph, which is log n, and the greedy algorithm that computes paths of log square n. So, a question is, does this gap exist for here or not? I mean, is it possible that when you can have a polylog path, a short path, can you compute the optimal one in that case? Because we know that in the other case we cannot compute the optimal one. But would it be the case that really you have a penalty because of your local view? Well, it could be the case that when you're in the favorable case, you can indeed match the diameter, but it would also be very surprising that you really can't, because it would tell you something about the penalty of being local. Okay, so the question is, can we do better than greedy? And the question I've tried to explain is, does the navigable diameter, that is to say the longest shortest path you can compute with your local view, could it be the case that it matches the diameter or not? Okay? So it turns out that you can do much better than the greedy one. And the reason is the following. In the analysis of the greedy, the idea is very simple. It's basically why do we need that the probability, why do we need that to be? Okay, the probability of long-range link is proportional to 1 over the distance between u and v all squared. Okay, so it turns out that it has the following very nice property. Is that if you look at a node u, okay, and you look at the balls around it of exponentially growing diameter. Okay, so here you have a ring of size 2, 4, 8, here to 2 to the I. Okay, and what's going on here is that since we are in the grid, okay, the ratio of the size of this ball over this one is a constant. Okay? And the size of this ball is basically d of the radius r, it's r squared. Okay? So you have more or less r square nodes here in the annulus. Okay? So if you sum up the probability in this annulus, you will find that it's all equal in each of these annulus. That means that if you look at this node and you ask the question in which annulus will fall my long-range contact, what you know is that you will select uniformly at random one of these annulus, and within of this annulus more or less a uniform node. Okay, so basically you can imagine that in the Kleinberg model, okay, you select